So like with Mamkhulu, obviously you brought it back because of your recent experience in South Africa that we don't need to go into. It's
I'm
part of the
cool to
lore
talk
of
about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
I want to just ask how are you and the family doing? That's really all I care about.
Thanks, man. No, we're fine. It's long gone now. It's
Yeah.
we left the country, left the whole thing, and so everybody's cool. My kids are
Yeah.
actually downstairs trying to be quiet so we can, do a cool interview together.
But yeah, so you brought the song back. Couple of lyric changes, but the overall soundscape of it is very different from the original as well. What was the what was the process there? Like, how did you sort of
Yeah, so
thread
what's
that
interesting
needle?
is I was going through the sort of bucket of cool songs to do with the producer at the time, Adam, who's an amazing producer. And I was like, hey, I've got this other song, Mamkulu. And it wasn't really that. It's so Giles, I, and Gary and some others made a record. And that's, I can say, the lost record because it didn't get finished. I had a whole bunch of personal things going on. They had personal things going on. So there's
That's
like
life.
mostly completed record of different things were just sitting in digital files somewhere. And it had Gary, and unfortunately, as you know, Gary's passed away.
Yeah.
We have 12 songs of his work that sort of started. So his stuff is all sitting there unused, and two of the songs were almost finished. I mean, really close to being finished. Like they were in that sort of final, like we need to remix them, redo the vocals and everything. And it was Spade Hearts Club and Mamkulu. And so the other ones, of which there are other great songs on that record, but those two are kind of the ones that made it the farthest before we put the project down. So fast forward a little bit, and after kidnapping, which we can just use the word,
Yeah.
uh, I I I could never figure out what that song was about. Genuinely, I mean, I wrote that song, and it was me and Mamkulu with my mother's name. She runs an orphanage called mamkhulu.org, and so it was me and Mamkulu. And then there was a guy there named Nkuna, sorry, no, not Kuda. Anyway, there was a name of a guy, and I was like, okay, this got to be what the song is about. And so, when something just comes to your head as a musician, I don't even know what it is. I'm just like a
Mm.
vessel to collect things and put it in the vessel. And so I put it in the vessel. We made the song, and it always kind of bugged me that I didn't really have it. The meaning of it wasn't really there yet. But I was certainly describing a person with a very specific problem of surrounding my mother. And then fast forward to kidnapping, which is also with my mother. Uh,
Mm.
the name of the kidnapper is actually the name shift that I made, and I realized the whole song and the whole meaning of this guy who just he's stuck where he is because during the kidnapping, this is interesting. This you're going to hear on this first time here on this show. During the kidnapping, one of the guys was praying to God, and like, what kind of kidnappers are like praying? Like, this just feels way off to me. And you gotta
Oh.
like when you look at like why are they doing this? Like they were rationalizing it in their own sense. Like there was one guy who was a huge dick, but the rest of them
Well,
were
I mean,
actually
to be fair, Sean, I think you'll find that most kidnappers
yeah,
are
it's hard to
huge
maybe
dicks.
this is Stockholm syndrome, but I would say there was one guy that like hit me in the head repeatedly with a gun and was
Yeah, he
punching,
was the worst of
kicking
the.
me out. It was like
Yeah.
the one super violent, obviously criminal,
Yeah.
guy. And then there's the other guy. There's a couple other guys that were a little bit rough. And then there's a couple of guys who clearly shouldn't be kidnappers. Like they were terrible kidnappers because they were nice. I mean, they were just like they were trying to make sure nobody got hurt. They were making recommendations. Part of maybe that was part of the good cop, bad cop thing.
Yeah,
Anyways, they were
maybe, maybe.
praying. They didn't get hurt. Now they were praying in a language that I didn't understand. So they were obviously not praying for the purposes of calming me down. So it wasn't like good cop, bad cop. They were genuinely praying in Siswati, which is the local African language. And
Yeah.
the orphan that was with us speaks Siswati. So she was like, why are these kidnappers praying that nobody gets hurt? Anyway,
I guess they're desperate. Um,
yeah, exactly. So it's
yeah.
and you know that they're desperate, they're starving. Is that really what you should do if you're starving? I don't know. You could have just come and asked me for money. I would have given you some, dude.
I'm
You
not gonna sit here and play devil's advocate for your kidnappers. That's an
right?
insane style of interview that I just don't think I'm capable of.
I love it. Yeah. Anyway, so then as I was sitting around listening to that song, or I thought of that song, I'm like, that song has the same feelings about. there's this guy or these guys, and I'm sure, I'm just collecting emotions, putting them in
Mm.
jars. And it's about a guy who's out of his who's trying to be good, trying to do well by his family, trying to do something, but he's so off base, like so off base. And we're just kind of dealing with the aftermath of this guy who's way off base and has totally missed the point of why we exist as human beings. Anyway, so then I realized, okay, this song might have actually been about the kidnapping, or at least I'm reframing it in my head to be about the
Mm.
kidnapping. And to be honest, I don't want to sit down and write songs about kidnapping. That sucks. Like, I don't want, that's not
Dude,
something I want to do. So
it's
everyone's like, I'm
worse.
excited to
That's
hear
so
your
much
kidnapping
worse than
songs.
doing all of your breakup songs.
Yeah, that's true. Exactly.
Ugh.
So I have enough bad emotion that I don't want to like sit down. It's hard. This as a musician. If you write
Yeah.
a song, like a breakup song, and now you have to sing that over and over and over and over and over again,
Yeah.
you have to relive the stupid breakup song over and over and over and over again. That sucks so hard.
But not just like weekly when you play it live. It's like it's 2025. You know this. We're making content.
Yes, exactly.
We're captioning things.
Exactly. And you're even recording the song or making the song, you have to hear it 1,000 times. Like
Hmm.
you have heard it more than anybody else has ever heard this song. So I got to relive that emotion over and over and over and over again. So the fact that I'd already found a bottled version of this emotion, I could sort of redo it as a new version. So that's the sort of emotional characteristic of it. And then what I did is I gave the song to a producer and I said, hey, could we rethink this song in sort of a more modern context? And I was not planning on releasing the original work. And then when the new version came out, it was so different that I wanted there to be context. So I actually released in 1 month before the version of Mamkhulu, which is completely like literally, it's just like off the record floor. Like I didn't even have the original stems. Like just took
Yeah,
the demo
right.
and released the demo, which is funny. So that is an unmastered, like just raw, right up the front demo that was off the floor with Gary, like I guess live, not really live, like just thrown together and like, here's what the song should sound like when we're in our finishing stages, and
Yeah.
then released it to the world so it didn't get lost. That's really what happened.